I'm Rashonda. I'm the creator of this YouTube channel as well as the artbyro.com website where you can find over 250 art and drawing tutorials. In today's lesson, I'm going to be showing you how I draw a bubble letter Z in a graffiti style. So I hope you'll join me for that and want to maybe do some of your own artwork, and hopefully you feel inspired. So let's go ahead and go on over to the art studio and get started on that tutorial. Today I'm going to be drawing a graffiti letter Z, and we can do this way or we can do it this way. I'm making mine on an artist trading card. Of course, you can do yours on any size and type of papers. This has just been cut down to the standard artist trading card size with the corners rounded out, and it's on a heavy card stock, which I like using. It works good for the markers. I'll be using markers today. But let's go ahead and get started. We can do it either way. I don't typically do my letters this way, so maybe I'll give that a try and see what it looks like. One of the fun things about art is always experimenting and trying something new. So if there's an opportunity to do something I wouldn't normally do, I often like to go ahead and take advantage of that. So I'll be having my artist trading card long ways. Not that it makes a lot of difference, but sometimes these little things matter and they can get us in a different mindset. So I started with my Z, just making a regular letter Z like you would. And this is going to be a bubble letter in more of a graffiti style than your typical bubble letter. So we'll do things like making these curve a little more. So what I'm doing now is I'm just sketching it out and getting an idea of how I want everything to look. So I'm going to have this come down a little bit more and then curve up. And then I'll probably have a little bit of overlapping on here. This will come down pretty close to this. We'll have that come right down alongside it. And then the bottom part we'll make kind of big, especially in comparison to the top, and then have it curve down around. Then maybe have this overlap a little bit right there, and then connect with the top. So one of the things with the graffiti style bubble letters is it's a little more stylized, a little bit more going on. There's not really a lot to a letter Z. It's just a little zigzag, but we can make it a bit more interesting just by varying the sizes of stuff and changing the angles a little bit. So you can play around with your letter and come up with some cool ideas for it. And then we can do maybe some drips coming off of here. Not a lot of room at the bottom, but that's okay. It can go right off the bottom. Maybe add another one over here coming down. Come around. And then we'll put a nice bold outline on it in black. And then add some color. And we can do some designs on the inside if we want. Maybe put a brick wall in the background to give it a little more detail, or you could maybe do some drips coming off the top here if you wanted to. Maybe go off the edge of the page. A lot of different things you can do. These are fun to experiment, try different ideas for the background, push yourself a little bit. That's one of the reasons I like doing the artist trading cards. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a quick brick wall in the back, and I'll be back when I have that finished.
I like to be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before the new. Rewind, take it out of cue. Innocence can be a young man's game.
I got the brick wall all drawn out, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'll use a black outlining pen to do my outline for everything. And what I typically do is I'll trace over my pencil line with one of the pens, and then I'll go back over it a few times and make it a little bit thicker, a little bolder. And you can make yours thick, you can make it thin, whatever you think looks good for your artwork. So I'm going to go ahead and outline this real quick, and I'll be back when that's done. I have everything all outlined. I added a little bit of texture to the brick. If you want more information on how to draw brick walls, I have a couple different videos and blog posts on how to do that. But let's go ahead and start adding some color. So I'm going to use a couple of different purples, a lighter purple and a darker kind of a burgundy sort of a purple color. And I'm just going to fill this whole area. And of course, there's so many different ways you can add color to your letters. And that's one of the many reasons why I love working on artist trading cards, because they're smaller in size, you can do more of them in less time. And you could do several drawings and play around with different colors, different designs. Maybe do some with designs, some without. Just really opens up a lot of opportunity for playing around, having some fun, trying new things, getting out of your comfort zone without investing a significant amount of time in your artwork. So I'm going to do this purple. And you're going to be somewhat limited depending on your budget and your availability of all the markers you can get. You might not have the exact perfect colors that you want, which is kind of the case today. But we're going to go for it and see what it looks like. So I have my lighter base color. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of a darker color in some areas. Just to add a little bit of contrast and change it up a little bit. And if you go outside of your area like I did, if you have a colorless blender, you can use that to soften that up a little bit. But we're going to add some gray to the brick anyway, so it's not a huge deal. So we'll maybe just add a couple areas with this darker color. I would have liked to have had something that was a little closer to the purple, but that's okay. We'll give this a try and see what it looks like, and if we don't like it, then we'll know for next time that we don't like that color combination. Not the end of the world. So we'll add some of this darker color at the bottom. And then maybe a little bit along the back here. Try to get some nice smooth curves going. So that don't look too bad. And we can also add in like some little reflective areas if we wanted to. And we could also do this with black. We could outline this in black and fill it in and see what that would look like. There's just so many different things you can experiment with, play around, see what it looks like. Try something new. Maybe put a couple of those in. And then for the brick, I'm just going to take a lighter gray and just go around the outside edges here real quick. And I could also, if I wanted, I could use a gray pen and add some more of these little pit marks in here. We could add a shadow behind the letter if we wanted to create a little bit of depth in there. We could add some cracks to the brick if we wanted to. Maybe make some chunks coming out of it. So many different things you can do, and if you've never worked on an artist trading card before, I do encourage you to check that out and give it a try. Oftentimes when we're working on lettering type art, whether it's graffiti art or just block letters or any type of lettering, we tend to focus on doing full words, which can take quite a bit of time. And you're not going to feel the freedom of experimenting too much if your drawing's taking you an hour, 2 hours to do. It's going to be hard to play around and experiment too much. So I do encourage you to think about maybe trying an artist trading card. Doesn't mean you have to trade them. That's what the purpose of an artist trading card is, but I like to just keep mine in a portfolio. Okay, so that's it for the brick. And then the last thing we can do, and this is optional, but we can add some white in here with this is a white Jelly Roll pen. We could add a couple areas of white for a little bit more contrast. And you could leave this off if you don't like how the white looks, but it's up to you. But this is pretty much it for the Graffiti Bubble Letter Z. I hope you enjoyed this video and hopefully you feel inspired to do some of your own artwork. If you did follow along with the video, leave a comment, let me know that you followed along, and I will see you next time. Happy creating! Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like. It really helps us out. And also, check out that description box. There's some information in there for you about our Facebook group and how to do artist trading cards, along with some other information. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!